So I had to post this because I have uh, a few places. Um, I have one place uh, here in town, and I have another place um, out where I go to school. And I'm sitting down, and I went into the kitchen. I hadn't eaten anything. I get up at like 5, 6 in the morning and bus out there, and then spend the whole day out there to like 3, do a bunch of assignments, and go to the library. And I go home, and during my break, I go and I get something to eat, and then I go back. And while I was in the house getting something to eat, I decided this time, and I haven't done this in a long time, I was gonna make myself a burger, and on a hot day too. So I made myself a burger. While I'm making myself a burger, I'm sitting inside of my living room, and I'm sitting in my not this old lazy boy I got, but my brand new lazy boy, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the news, and on the news it posts a posting, and it says Bruce Jenner is now Caitlyn Jenner, and my immediate response was, "What? He's Caitlyn Jenner? What? The world's greatest athlete, the greatest athlete that America's ever had, the decathlon winner." I mean, the phenomenal story of Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon, like the greatest athlete of our generation. I mean, I know he's like an old guy now, but he was a picture of success in America. And now he's not just having these thoughts of wanting to be a woman. He's gone full blown, and he's Caitlyn Jenner, and he looks, and he wears apparel like a woman, and I don't know what else. Wow, what happened to Bruce Jenner? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this because I think it's funny, or I'm trying to be rude or mean or spiteful or say mean things. Like, what really happened? This is Bruce Jenner. And I looked at the situation. My wife, she watches Keeping Up with the Kardashians all the time, and I can't help but hear that garbage. I'm sorry. I think it's pointless. I think it's totally pointless. I think there's many families, including my own, than to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's absolute. It's wow. But anyway, so I watch this all the time, and I always constantly watching. I'm watching, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh, he's so demasculated in that television show. I mean, not just television. It's not just television. It's like he's so emasculated. It's horrible. It's terrible. You look at him, pretty soon he starts wearing makeup. You could see it, his earrings. I could tell even before he did this. I could tell he was so emasculated. He was getting weird. I could tell that. And I didn't watch it. I just walking by, I could see it. And immediately I felt like I had the answer. And I don't know how many people that are real passionate in life. They're real successful people. They're amazing people. Even people who maybe don't seem to be so successful, with material things in life. They have we all have this thing inside of us. It's a form of our identity and who we are, and in this life, and I remember listening to the Torah portion this weekend on Naso, which was take up the number of my people. And it's this whole theme of that God is counting his people, and it's because we count as people, we count. And this thing in Numbers about how he counts the people, and then we look at the in Numbers. We just get out of the book of Leviticus, and it sets up pretty much the guidebook for how to be a priest, how to have the temple, how to do the offering and things like that. And then we look at an unclean person, we have the census, and an unclean person, the confession and restitution concerning an unfaithful wife, which is both ways, both man and woman. And then we have the Nazirite vow, and then we have the priestly benediction, and then we have the offering of the leaders. And all these things all reflect around one central certain idea. It's that we all count, and that God believes we count. We're important. And what is this thing about the confession of restitution? And a husband thinks his wife's cheated, or vice versa, and it makes them paranoid, and they want to know. They want to know what happened, because when we get married, we find our identity in that person, and that person validates us daily, and we wonder what's going on with that. Where's it at? Is the heart really there? Is it truly connected? Is it really there? And you see, that makes a lot of sense. Well, why is that in this Torah portion? It makes a lot of sense because so too the temple and God's Ruach HaKodesh, which is the Holy Spirit, it validates us. It's our image. He wants us near Him. He wants us around the temple. He wants us to know we count. We're important. He counts us. And it's a beautiful thing. And then the Nazarite vow. Oh, it's amazing. Why the Nazarite vow? Why does this thing happen? And I'm getting to the point about Bruce Jenner here. Okay, what is happening? Why did we go from the adulterous wife to Nazarite vow? Well, because there's both a thing of identity here, kind of paranoia. God doesn't really say we have to go out and do all these extra things. He says these are the things I require, but in Nazarite he takes it a step further. He does this, and he does this, and he does this, and he gives these offerings. And if he would even go further with the offerings that God said that are extra, if you want to make this Nazarite vow, then you can, but you don't have to. But then if that's what you need to do to feel validated, God sets aside. He says, okay, let's do this, because you count, you're important, and I love you, So here's these two things. It's this thing, kind of like this paranoia, my identity. Like, what's going on? Am I really a righteous person? Am I really a good person? And do I count? Of course you count. And so this thing about Bruce Jenner, I'm getting to it. Then we get into the book of Judges. And in the book of Judges, we hear about the birth of Samson. Here's a man who's born, and he's born a Nazarite. An angel comes and says he's to drink no strong drink and no razors to touch his head. He's mine. He's set apart for me. And he's a great man. He's this wonderful man. He's this, if you read the story of Samson, it's a beautiful story. It's really a story of the Messiah. Here's this man. He comes, and you gotta read the story. How it's huge. But what I'm saying is that Bruce Jenner, what happened to Bruce Jenner? I look at it and I think to myself, and this may sound really risque, or don't I should say this may sound very kind of rash. I don't know. But he married another man's wife. He took on those kids, and he took on that wife, and that wasn't his wife. That was his buddy's wife. And then he married her. He married his buddy's wife. Why did he marry his buddy's wife? He married his buddy's wife because his buddy died, and he says, promise to take care of my kids. So Bruce Jenner, being this amazing man, he takes on his wife and his kids, and he takes them on his own. But those aren't his kids. You know what I mean? And he has his own kids. And that wasn't his wife. That was his buddy's wife. Now, why couldn't that work? Could that work? Sure, that could work. But you don't get the feeling from watching the television show. And you don't get the idea that Bruce really feels a strong connection there. You know what I mean? And I think, I don't know how hard this is to take in. I don't know if I feel horrible for this, if I have a whole lot more energy to keep going on, but You know, I feel like Bruce, he lost his sense of identity. He lost keeping his eyes. Oh, the priestly benediction. Priestly benediction is important. It says, the priestly benediction is, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you peace. Grant you shalom, peace. So let's go over that. You know, here we've got, so, you know, we said the paranoid, you know, Nazarite vow, the cleanness of a wife, you know, the census, the taking up a number. Then there's the offering of the leaders. That was interesting. You know, so we all go through different things in life, but the thing about the offering leaders is they were exactly the same. They were from all the princes, you know, named of the heads of the tribes of Israel. They were exactly the same. And what's amazing about that is they didn't have to give these gifts, but they did, and they were exactly the same. But they mean different, something different to everybody. And all this stuff adds up to, you know, you count, you have an identity, you're important. And I think that Bruce Jenner didn't felt he counted in this marriage. I felt that Bruce Jenner didn't feel, you know, validated. He didn't feel he counted. He didn't feel like a man, you know. He didn't feel like a man in this marriage, and he wanted to be something. He wanted to be something important. He wanted that validation, and he just made himself a Kardashian. I mean, there's tons of girls getting Botox. His daughter did it. She became pretty much a Kim Kardashian, I should say, in a way. And now her dad did it, and it's like, gosh, you know, your dad. I mean, Bruce Jenner did it. It's like, you know, keep your eye on God. Keep your spirit focused on the Torah, on that light, on that God. Center your life in your meaning, you know. And at the end, you know, the Lord bless you and keep you. You know, your blessing is from God. Keep you, secure you, keep your identity in Him. You know, your person, your soul, your mind, your spirit in Him. The Lord, you know, make His face shine upon you. Let the Lord smile upon you. You know, put your hope in the Lord that He'll give you acceptance, you know, and be gracious unto you. And when you're feeling dirty, you're feeling bad, and you want to do, you know, He's gracious, you know, be gracious to me and forgive me. You know, His acceptance and His forgiveness. And the Lord lift His countenance on us, you know, that He'll stand before us, and when He's with us, He'll give us peace. You know, not Kim Kardashian, you know, not the Kardashians. You know, who cares? You know, what the Kardashians. I'm not trying to keep up with the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Who cares? It amounts to less than a pile of dirt. It don't matter. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I tried to explain that the best that I could. But, you know, I feel that's what I felt. I felt that had to be said. It's sad. He was a great man. He was awesome. But I think that serves as a lesson. There's another verse in the Bible that says, "Give not thy strength unto women." Give not thy strength unto women. Don't do it. It's a bad move. It's a stupid move every single time. You know? Don't do it. I feel He gave His strength away. It says, "Love the Lord thy God with all thy might, all thy heart, thy soul, all thy mind, all thy strength." You know, your strength, I mean, it's kind of like this body, you know? Don't give all of this, what all of this means to you. Don't give all of that to a woman. Don't do that. Don't do that. You give that to God. You know what I mean? It's strange fire. A woman's got a different fire. A woman burns differently when she's right with God. And even when a woman is right with God, you got to be right with God too. The only time you guys really catch on fire is when you're in that most intimate situation. And then you got to go back to serving God. So whatever validation he wasn't getting from his wife, or whatever was going on with him that he felt, at the end, the only thing that really matters is your relationship with God. And you just hope that that person you're with is on the right relationship with God too, because that person is like a consuming fire. They can consume themselves. I'll tell you what I think happened. I think he wanted to be consumed so much by his wife. And I don't know how crazy it sounds to you, but I believe the Spirit echoes what's really going on. I believe he wanted to be so much attended by his wife, so important, that he just tried to become his wife. It's crazy. It's nuts. Anyway, that's real. It's been real. Peace. Shalom.